This is an incredible chart. We both, Danielle and I both said, is this real? We looked. It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So obviously, what does this mean? This means that healthcare is going like crazy. And obviously that industry is kind of offsetting our job numbers, but we're still sitting at what, at 4.3 today, which historically, guys, is not that bad, right? It's just not. I wouldn't call it an employees market, right? I wouldn't call it an employers market either, but it's balanced, and I think the Fed's fine with that, right? I mean, that's one of their mandates is low unemployment. I think if it gets any higher, and I think AI is a big wild card still.
Yeah, AI is going to be a wild card. Also, if people aren't feeling secure in their jobs, then obviously, it's going to affect buyers, because a buyer is going to be nervous to buy if they're insecure in their job. So that job market is actually something that can sway the market much more than how many transactions are actually happening in the market, because that statistic doesn't really matter that much. It's more the confidence of the buyer and the distress of the seller.
I'd love to hear from you guys and what you guys are seeing, in the job market, because I'm hearing all kinds of things. I have friends that they're not laying people off because of AI, but what they're doing is they're growing, and they're not actually hiring people for the growth. It's very interesting, because they're finding these efficiencies with their IT, with their HR, with their marketing, with their accounting, certainly customer service, and they're finding these efficiencies inside of their businesses, and so one person can now do what typically potentially could have been two people's jobs. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting. So I'm a betting man. I think that you're going to start to see higher unemployment this year, personally, as a result of this. I think this is a year for it to show up, because there are people that adopt this technology quickly, and there are people that don't, and it comes slowly. But it's definitely on everybody's radar, and they're definitely taking a look. Because why? Because employers are also suffering from inflation. The employers' costs are more, and so these things are all trickling in, and of course labor costs are driving some of that as well. So if they can drive that down a little through tech, I think this is going to be the year that it's going to start to really show up.
So in order for the sellers to be distressed, because I think that this is the whole point of this video, is the seller distress is what you need for major price corrections. And in order for that to happen, you're going to need to have massive unemployment, not a little bit of unemployment. You're going to need to have massive unemployment without the government stepping in to help. And if you have massive unemployment and the government not stepping in to help, then yes, you're going to get a correction in the housing market. But my challenge to you is, when does the government not step in and interfere? Because even in 2008, the Fed specifically said that one of their regrets was not stepping in to save the housing market. That was a big thing. If you look at the Fed notes, that they were not happy with the outcome of what they did.
Well, I think we got a glimpse of that during the pandemic, right? Like, unemployment spiked, people got sent home, and what happened? The president came out and said, can't evict anyone, and we're not going to foreclose on anyone. And remember, they're kicking the can down the road on people's mortgages and all that stuff. So you guys went through this, all right? Government stepped in. They also gave stimmy money, right? So they potentially right out of a playbook here. So, okay, so it's true that high unemployment potentially could disrupt the housing market for sure. But I do want to point out that distress means no cash. So the first people to get distressed are going to be the renters. The second tranche is going to be the homeowner. And it could be happening at the same time. That's true. But don't forget, when you've got $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 of equity sitting in your home, you're a lot more comfortable than you were in 2008. Because in 2008, the home was worth less than the mortgage, and here the home was worth significantly more than the mortgage. So, so yes, you might have personal distress, but just like anything, if you guys have a debt and you have cash, you pay the debt, period. And that's exactly what this is going to be. It's going to be, yes, maybe they have to sell the home to get to their equity. I get that, but if they're in trouble financially, they're going to reach into the equity of the home that they already are living in, and that's going to cancel whatever, and it's going to, and obviously in many cases, it's going to be a lot more than they need. So I just don't see any kind of a correction at all.